Your setup's looking a lot better. Okay, I'm not seeing the over. Okay, that's big. Okay, so we're getting set behind it pretty good, looking good. What's been your big miss out there on the range? Is it left or is it right?
Everything. I started off yesterday pretty bad and it was going right, and then I kind of got into a groove, like he said, and I started hitting a lot left.
Okay.
But the pretty much the only thing I've been doing consistently is missing the ground.
Missing the ground.
Yeah, just not a lot, but not by a lot.
So even his good hits, he's kind of picking it as opposed to compressing it. Like he's not taking a divot.
Okay.
I don't think that's the end of the world, to be honest. I mean,
No,
Tiger
that's
didn't take a divot.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world. If I were to say, hey, I want to have a miss one way or the other, I definitely want it thin.
Yeah.
Right? As my PGA mentor would always tell me, nobody takes a fat girl to the dance.
Because if he
Are you allowed to say that anymore?
Probably not, man. Probably not.
If he didn't, it's still guaranteed to go straight.
We might not be able to say it, but we're all thinking it.
Correct. Right? There's a lot of things you can't say nowadays.
Yeah, thank God there weren't cameras when I was growing up.
Oh. I feel sorry for this generation. All right, big guy. You're doing pretty good with the wedge. Let's move on over to a 6-iron and see what we can do there, okay?
Okay.
All right, I think we're pretty good with all that. I want to see how we're doing with a little bit with the longer irons here, okay? Now, have we been working on our short game at all?
When we can.
Okay.
And I meant to ask you about that. You were going to talk to your guy at Saddle Rush or something.
Yeah, they're having a issue over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that's
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Unfortunately, they're about to go through some big financial changes.
When, they don't have 2 courses anymore, right?
No, they got rid of that practice area, and then they tore up the other part of the course, and then came back.
Home salon or something?
No, they're gonna try to build more of a championship style course, expanded.
Oh.
But they blew through the $3 million that they got back and said this is another $3 million. And now I think there's legal action and all that going on. So it's True Golf, I think it's owned.
Yeah.
It's managing it. So
There's just moving around. It's got like a put in the sugar green. Silverado closed
Closed
thing
down.
in. And, yeah, or now they're closed.
I'll drive on back there because I heard somebody was mowing it and stuff like this. I wonder if they got like that little short game mowed out there in the bunker.
Well, they put that party facility in there where the old putting green used to be.
Right?
Because we used to go there and chip and put all.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know where I can go. Because like where my parents live in Inglewood,
Mm-hmm.
that little place down there, they got a great putting and chipping area with sand bunker.
That's it.
We were there just 2 hours, just sit there chipping.
That's what this community
That's
needs.
2 hours from here.
Yeah. I mean, that's. All right, okay. All right, so let's just kind of take a look at a few things here, right? Path is pretty good, okay? I'm not seeing any over the top, which is good, okay? Face angle is a little wonky every once in a while, okay? Sometimes you're chasing it, and sometimes you're just moving it off a little bit. So we'll take a look at that. Your smash factor's up pretty good, so you're connecting in the center of it, right? It's just we've got to get our face to start matching up a little bit better.
Okay.
6-iron, is that what you got right there?
Yep.
And we're hitting it about, what do we get for a carry here? 157, okay, total 174. So, and our height is 64 feet. You can get it up just a little bit, but that's okay. Let's come on over here. Let's grab the camera. All right. And let's take a look at some of our body positions. How's the swing feeling other than that, my man?
Pretty decent.
Okay. I'm seeing some good results. I mean,
Yeah.
it's coming.
I didn't hit any 600s as good as I wanted.
So
but
I told you you had a little bit of a breakthrough last night.
Yeah.
Because we've been trying everything. But what I did was just put this on his head while he was swinging.
Yeah.
I'm like, just try to stay tall,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when he did that, he started getting a result.
Well,
I don't care what it is, it works. As long as it works.
correct. It's feel versus real, right? I mean, you know, I remember having a little door against the head and turning. But I've got a little drill here I think that's going to work for him. We're going to focus on the hips, which is going to keep his body in a position where he can't get his head down or he loses the ball.
Okay.
So, all right, let's kind of take a look here. Go ahead and set up for me, big guy.
Alright. No ball or ball?
Yeah, we're going to hit one.
Okay.
We're hitting one, big guy.
Alright.
Fire away. All right, let's take a look at it here. Yeah. All right, I'm going to try something here with you, okay? And I'm going to see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out what your pelvic hip motion is doing, right? And if we can improve that a little bit. So, let's put the club down for a sec,
Yep.
okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to take this ball and I want you to place it right here on your left side here, okay?
Alright.
And then I want you to kind of put your arms across your chest and give me a backswing. Okay, so go ahead and put that on your hip. Okay? Give me a backswing. Okay, good. Good. Okay? Good. Alright, okay. See how you're losing the ball?
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, again. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Dad, come here real quick. Okay. So what I'm trying to do with the hips to start off with here a little bit is I'm trying to get a little bit of the sway out that he gets a little bit.
Yeah, I see it a lot of times. Sometimes I'll see his heel kind of do that.
Uh-huh. And I talked about how you get the left knee coming back too much.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. You've done really well on doing better on that, right?
Mhm.
But this is going to be a really good drill to get you to feel where your left hip needs to stay and your right hip needs to go back. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you should feel a lot more stationary with what you're trying to do. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you see what we're doing there?
Yep.
Okay. Once again. Good. Now, I'll let you kind of look down the line here, Dad, but you'll see when he does this, right? Go ahead. You see how he's got a nice straight line with his spine now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't see him kind of going this way a little bit now at all. Okay. All right, good. All right. Yeah. Okay. See what we're doing with our leg there?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. So let me ask you, does it feel like a lot less moving parts?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. That's what I want to hear.
I mean, you're just winding up like a spring, right?
Yeah, that's it. I think the big thing for him is that he gets his pelvis kind of moving a little bit like this, gets his chest over like we kind of talked about, and then what we have to do is we've got to reverse this. I've got to get this over here. My head's going to follow that.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can get you to turn like this and keep that left hip more on that wall a little bit, we're going to stay around our spine and be able to drive that back down in there instead of getting here and then having to catch up with it with our chest.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, big guy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the difficulty level a little bit better.
Mhm.
I want us to kind of feel like we got our club in our hand, give you kind of a grip. Okay. Now let's make that motion. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you feel the stretch in your stomach?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It feels like you're about to wind up a bow. Right? At least for me. Like if I was getting a compound bow, that's what it feels like. Okay. What's that right elbow doing?
Driving down.
Right? He doesn't have to reverse the spine to catch up. Good.
You know, when I told you you had some good swings last night,
Mhm.
I videotaped it. And I didn't send it to you because I don't need to have really pressure to have to try to turn something around in less than 24 hours. But instead of his elbow being here,
Mm-hmm.
it was like here, which is like an improvement, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's not perfect, but it was the first improvement we've seen in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely see those guys as they get here. They're driving that elbow out in front of them just as so, and releasing those hands as they come through. Right? We don't want to get back over here where I'm stuck. Right? That's not good.
I got lots of video of this right here.
Yeah. But I think if we can get this motion here, right, you can feel yourself being more upright, stuck to that wall, and then you can fire through. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Let's keep going with it. Right? Yeah. Right? And you feel how your hips have to stay out of the way to keep that ball
Yeah,
on the wall?
Definitely.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Right? Good. Right? Okay. Set up again for me. Good. Just gonna kind of do this too. There you go. Good. Now go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's just something that we're going to have to work on. Get like a little kid's ball or something like that at a dollar store or at the grocery store.
Does it matter if it's exactly that size?
No, doesn't make it be big, small, whatever. Just something where he's got to kind of press force against it
Okay.
and rotate and keep that hip on that line.
And the starting point is where?
Right here on the hip. You know, we're just somewhere right there. It's
Okay.
not,
Super
terribly
specific. Yeah.
correct. I don't want you to get, it's got to be right there. But just something where he's kind of got his hip there and he's keeping that hip against that wall instead of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yeah.
I think in the video you called it like a chicken wing or something when I follow through and I'm like that.
Mm-hmm.
Will that fix itself naturally when I start?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So your chicken wing is because the chest and head are going back and you're trying to get a swing, right? If I go back like this too much, I'm trying to hold the face open, right?
Yeah.
But once I start to get you more on top of the ball, swinging through and keeping my arms out in front, that's going to go away.
Okay.
Does that make sense,
Yep.
big guy?
Yep.
Okay. If you still have an issue with it, right, what we kind of do is, what was the old drill that we used to do? Grab a club just like this, okay, with our left arm here, and then turn, okay, so I can't get that arm out over here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go, right? So, boom, right? Feel that elbow turning down. And that would just be a natural motion, like throwing a frisbee.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, big guy. Let's kind of come on over here. Grab the wedge again. Let's grab the P wedge. Okay. And what we're going to try to do, okay, is that we're going to try to bring in that feel that we have with the wall.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, that's all we're going to try to focus on, right? Should feel like I'm drawing back a big compound bow. Okay, do you think you would have held it there?
Probably not.
Okay, fair enough. I would agree with that. Okay. You getting that feel?
Think so.
Okay. Let's try to put it in effect, okay? We're going to go with 3 balls here, okay? And then I want an honest assessment of what you think you did there, okay? Because the camera's not going to lie. Honest assessment, do you think you kept your hip there? On all 3? 1, 2, what do you think?
I think I definitely did on the first one and the third one, I think it was.
Okay.
It's hard to tell.
Okay, well, let's take a look and see what we're seeing here, okay, partner? All right, our windup is looking really good, okay?
We came too far.
Yeah. So we're getting just a little too far. Okay. All right, so second thing we're going to kind of do. Do you feel what we're doing there now?
Yep.
Okay, good. Now you're driving forward and through. We're still kind of throwing our hands a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, I think I've asked you this question before, but when we start the swing, right, it should start down at the bottom part of our foot, right? So I'm going to take the club down here real quick. Get up to the top of your backswing for me, big guy. Okay, good. So I'm going to hold your arms, okay? Start your downswing. Yeah, well, part of it, okay, part of it, okay. Okay, I think you're getting an idea, but we got to get kind of that hip going too a little bit. So
Okay.
I'm going to get you kind of like this, okay? You're going to do this, and what you're going to do is you're just going to move this hip, like that, okay? That's part of what you're going to kind of do. Right now you're kind of going like this. You get here and it's just,
Yeah.
we need to kind of get that hip kind of turning just a little bit, right? My arms are going to kind of drop just a little bit. So we want to work on the hip turn just a little bit, okay? So get there, good, okay? Yeah. Okay. Feel that hip turning out of the way? Good. Good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, let's do this. Let's see if we can get a good feel for it here. Let's get up to the top of our backswing. Okay. Good. Now let's try that motion. Yeah, okay, see how that starts to pull everything down?
Yep.
Okay, I don't have to go throwing my arms out this way to bring my head down, okay? All right, now, the other thing we gotta kind of do here, and we're gonna hit a few balls this way, okay, is the old towel drill, okay? We gotta get you to kind of, the big thing is we kind of see here just a little bit, right? As we go. Right, the arms are just getting ever so slightly disconnected from us.
Yeah.
As we kind of lift up here and then transition, right? So for you, you start your swing right here.
Yeah.
Right at the top, okay? And we've got to get that feeling, okay? Set up for me, big guy. Up to the top and stop. Good. All right. You got to get that feeling like these guys stay up here, right? And then start with your lower body. Yeah. Okay. That's going to start bringing everything down for us. Okay. There you go. Feel that? Yeah. Okay. That's where we got to kind of be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to take time. Okay. For you, and you're just so used to wanting to
Yeah.
throw it right off the top. Okay. All right. Good. Once again, up to the top, stop. Good. So if I got you, give it a start, and pulling that thing down. Good. Okay. Good. Good. Move up top. Look.
Yeah, we lost the south driving range.
There we go. Now let's put that underneath our arms. Here we go. Here we go. Good, good, good. All right. So let's hit about 3 or 4 balls here. Okay. And all we want to do is kind of take it up to about rib high, low rib high or something like that. Just something where we kind of get up. All right. Here we go. I see. Is that for me? There you go. Good. Bring it on back for me, please. All right. So here we go. No wrist set at this point. That's why we're really coming hard off that top.
Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be like this. See that?
Yep.
Okay, now you've got a little rest set for what we're doing here, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can get through here, turn.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. So, come on, here we go. There you go. Okay, you only got that thing set right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that way you can swing through, okay? Trying to get that butt of the club driving back down through the ball again. Yep. Yep. Okay? Don't go so fast. We're just trying to get a feel. Alright? I'm trying to kill it.
Can I choke down a little?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're just going for a feel. This isn't for distance. Let's take a look at that guy. Much better. You see the wrist angle set that you've got there? That's really good, pal. All right, you're still losing it a little bit. Okay, but you're getting it set.
What do you mean losing it?
See right here? That's early release.
Okay, so you're saying keep that.
Maintain that angle.
Yeah.
Right? So if you set up for me. Okay. So get it set for me. All right, bring it down. Yeah, you see that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I need to kind of see. Now we need to release that club down and through. Yes. Okay, once again.
That's where all the speed comes from.
Correct. Correct. Okay, here we go. Good. Bring it on down. There you go. You see how you're maintaining that angle? See how that elbow's working in front of you now?
Yep.
Okay, and then we need to release those hands and rotate our forearms as we come through. Yes. Okay. Think of Tommy Fleetwood when you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. You feel what we're doing there?
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Good.
Just explain. The first time we did this drill at the driving range, he really struggled to hit the ball.
Okay.
And I think now we're understanding why.
We did it yesterday and it was a lot better.
Okay. Okay. Right. So. Okay. You're still kind of losing it a little bit.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let me give you a feel again. Okay. Get it set. All right. Good. Yep. Yep. So Dad, that's just what we're going to have to do for a little bit. So he gets that feeling of maintaining that wrist angle back here. through impact, right? Instead of losing that wrist angle. That's the big thing, okay? There you go, okay? Good. Yeah.
For me, I just pull with the left hand.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like that's the feeling in my mind. Whether I'm doing it or not, I don't know, but that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I always had the feeling, or my instructor always told me, if I had a church bell, right, I'd be pulling on that church bell back here. Does that make sense? And maintaining that angle. Mm-hmm. Good. No chicken wing in that arm now, is there?
Nope.
Correct. Good job. How does that feel now?
Better?
Right? Understanding?
Yeah.
You got some understanding? Good, good. All right. Hitting 3 balls. We're not trying to kill it, but we're trying to maintain that angle, okay? Slow and low. That is the tempo. Beastie Boys.
I was gonna say, wasn't that a song?
Beastie Boys.
1986.
Mm-hmm.
He's unwinding it there.
Yeah.
You see that, Tom? In the
Yeah, I
video?
saw it.
Right? You held it a little bit longer, okay, but we're still kind of losing it just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay? Takes a little time. Good. Let's keep going, okay? Feel like you held it down on that one?
Think so?
Okay, let's take a look, partner. Better.
Yeah.
All right. It's better. It's not, hey, one wasn't built in a day. Okay.
Should you do like over exaggeration drills? Like where you almost like don't even let your wrist break at all or something?
Yeah, I mean, probably for him, I want to get just a little device here real quick, and I want to see if this might help give him a feel for it.
How am I hitting it 110? Just doing that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how far you can get.
My farmer's pitching coach today went 120, and I just got 110 doing.
Yeah, but it's rolling with that shot.
Yeah,
You're hitting it low and it rolls.
that's true. Had 99 carry.
Let's get this. So, let's do that. All right. Let me demonstrate this a little bit.
Yep.
So, and I'm probably going to send you guys home with this, okay? So what we want to kind of do, right, is we want to get this kind of over our left arm here, okay? As we set, the club gets up to the top, okay? That's where we're at.
Oh, is it touching your arm? Yeah.
Touch my arm, right? What I want to feel is that thing staying on my wrist as I come down to about right here, okay? And then I want to release the club. And you can see that it comes over on the other side. Okay? Now, what we want to kind of do is we want to get the feeling up, like we're doing, having that maintain on our arm a little bit so we've got something to, as a reference point, right? And then once we get here, swing it through and let it come over on the other side. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Should I ditch the towel?
Ditch the towel.
Alright.
That's fine. Come on back. Good. Okay, feel where you're at. Okay. Yeah. There you go. You don't need to sink.
Yeah.
Okay. Down. Okay. Set up again. Oh. Set up again. There we go. Good, good, good. Up. There we go. Good. See how you stopped right there? Now we've got a chance, not running out. Okay. Feel how that's coming down?
Yeah.
Maintaining on your arm a little bit. And through. And then over on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just trying to make sure that we maintain that angle as we come down and not early release our hands.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the big thing. Just kind of pump down, pump. There you go, there you go. That's all we need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not worried about the follow through.
Okay.
Okay, just want to get rid of that early release. All right. Down, down, down. Yes, yes. Okay. There you go. There you go, I hope. There you go. Right? And pump down. Okay. You feel what we're doing there?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to take that on out. Okay. Let's grab a club. Okay. Now that we've got that little device away from us, okay, not worried about all the other stuff. The big thing I'm trying to harness on is getting you to pump that club down a little bit, maintain that angle. Okay? All right, feel like that little device is on your arm as you pump down. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Again. Give me a couple pumps. Pump it down 3 times or something like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, get a feel for it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, let's go again. Okay, give me a couple pumps. Good. You feel how you're working that club in front of you now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's not getting lost behind you because of early release. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. So, with that being said, we're going to take 3 balls again. Okay. Now, I don't want you to kill it, okay, but I want us to kind of work that arm in front and get a feel for what we're trying to do, okay, partner?
Yep.
Any questions right now? Anything I can answer for you? Anything that feels comfortable, uncomfortable?
You want me to pump on the real swings too? Or?
Yeah, we're just making a small little swing. We're just trying to go for a feel. Okay, that we're just going to do that for 3 balls. All right. Just going to have to keep working on that. All right. Just keep going. Driving that butt of that club right back down on that ball, okay, partner? So, let's kind of do this real quick. Set up for me. All right, give me a couple pumps. And then go through. Good. Again. Still coming down a little bit. Feel that? Okay. It's all right. Better. Okay. All right. Take a break for just a sec. All right. Come on back. Okay. Move this on over to this side now.
Not to derail us here.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So, his right thumb, like when he had it on here, it's coming across, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way he's gripping the thumb is putting it there.
Yeah. He's got to have that. You got to have the thumb on the other side. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like bugging me.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So we definitely want to have, with our grip, right? Remember, left thumb, right side, right thumb, left side. Okay? That way you just kind of, you've got, the big thing is for the right hand, or for the left hand, that provides balance, and this guy's going to provide a little bit of a release for us as we come through. Okay? But the big thing is that we've got to kind of work on, right, so far right now, is making sure we get that little ball drill, right? Making sure that we feel our hip going back behind us and not to the side where we get that knee kind of going in a little bit, right? And the big thing is that we need to kind of work on is getting our angle of attack, right? Our wrist angle more in this direction, right? We're kind of getting here, and then it's kind of like throw the club,
Yes.
and then
You
you
can
get
see it.
behind it.
I mean, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Should the club be a little more upright there at that point of the swing?
Well, I think he's pumping right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a pump, right? But
So at what point do you want to lose that 90-degree angle? Do you want to let it start to release? At what point in the downswing?
right here. So once that thing gets to about thigh high, right, we start to release that club. Okay. So for him, right, when he gets here, right, he's releasing it back here by his
Yep.
shoulders or rib cage, right? And that's why he's got to throw his head down to get that there. Does that make sense, guys?
So the root cause of this whole issue is him releasing his wrist hinge too early.
Yes, absolutely. Right? His hands go out and away, right? Now he goes out and away, and his head's chasing that motion. Okay?
This is easy, son. Just hold that angle longer.
All right?
Simple.
I'm trying to think of a good drill for him to get that feel. I think some of the things that they used to do, like the old towel drill, right? Like snap the towel, right? So you kind of go like this, you grab this guy right here, and then you'd have to snap the towel down at the bottom to kind of maintain the angle a little bit. That's one way of kind of doing it. I always found that this was pretty good for most people right here. If they just got the idea of getting it here, right? That's kind of like small mini swing, and then just kind of pumping, and feeling that thing, feeling like it's right here. And then once we get right here to the thigh, right? Everything's turning out of the way, then it's down through. Does that make sense, big guy? Okay. All right. Let's grab a 7-iron here. Okay, let's move on up. Okay. All right, but I think the big thing is if we could kind of do the towel drill a little bit, right? Get the towel here and really get a feeling of letting that club kind of flip up, right? And then feeling that, like I'm maintaining that angle as I come through here. Holding it as long as I can, right? And then releasing my hands at the last minute. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give you a couple swings here. We're going to look down the line, see how we're doing there. Any questions now, guys?
Yeah. I'm starting to see him do that thing again.
Okay.
Which maybe it's right.
What things?
Just take
Okay.
okay. I don't know, it's almost, it looks different to me, and maybe it's an improvement, but
Okay.
like when he hinges his wrist on the takeaway,
That's about the speed that we want right there. Okay, you see how you're able to maintain your angle?
Yeah.
Okay, don't go too fast.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So he's picking the club up a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
it's
Okay.
very abrupt.
Yep.
And
yep.
I don't remember seeing that in the past.
Yeah, I see that too. I'd like to see that club kind of trace along the ground a little bit longer.
Okay.
Okay, kind of like what we were doing with the drill before. Yeah, keep going, you're doing great. Set, hold on. One more one here, big guy. Let's take a look down the line.
Oh yeah, that's really weird.
Alright, so you're definitely picking the club up. Okay. Not the worst. Do a great job of showering. I like the bowed left wrist. I mean, if you look down the line here, that matches up pretty well with what Johnny Rahm's doing.
Yeah.
Right? But we just got to maintain that angle. Let's see how we're doing. Early extension. Good job on the way back. Chase it though. Just a little bit.
He needs to keep his butt back.
Got to keep his rear end back a little bit, right? Okay. But doing a really good job. You know, if I look at John Rahm here and we put a line on his rear end here too, right? Doing good. He's busting that glass back behind him, which is good. He's just kind of throwing that club at the top, which is throwing his chest out in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see how long we got. Pretty good positions a little bit. I like how the club head is back behind his hands, and I like how his hands are back behind the ball, which is good. You just gotta get that angle.
Am I doing better with getting my shoulder behind me?
I don't have a down the line, I didn't have
Yeah,
a face on
alright.
view right there, but yeah, I'll take a look here on this one. Okay. I think we just gotta work on getting some body positions and some things, and I think we'll be off running here. All right, here we go, partner. Give me a little face on action. Let's see how we do here, okay? Oh yeah. Get your shoulder back there. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. This may be an issue that we see here. Okay, I want to look at the left shoulder here a little bit. All right, so as we start, right, watch how the left shoulder just goes kind of straight down.
Yeah.
Okay, if we look at John here, you can see that his shoulder goes kind of, I wouldn't say across, but down and across, right? Right, so your first start is just kind of like straight down a little bit. See that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I want you to kind of think about this here, and I just want to have a mental thought about it, right? I want you to think about your left shoulder replacing your sternum. Okay, so when I get here, right, when I turn, right, instead of doing this to start, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to feel like this guy kind of goes more across. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, because I want your sternum, or I want your left shoulder to replace where your sternum is, okay, instead of diving down to begin with. Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so it may feel like a little bit upright turn, flatter turn. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels flatter.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a word or a terminology that would work. Yeah, right, so it's not shoulder going down, right? It's shoulder kind of going more across. Does that make sense?
Yep.
To
Okay.
me, that's like easy fix
Yeah.
compared to some of this other stuff.
Well, to be honest with you, this could be it, right? This could be the big thing for him. Because if I can get him to turn this way instead of this way, I'm not going to go this way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How does that feel?
Good. Just have to drive the butt of the club down more.
It's okay. Chin up just a little bit. Let that left shoulder go under our chin, right? All right, big guy, let's hit a few here. All right. Chin up. That left shoulder go underneath our chin. Replace our sternum. We'll fix the face. Not worry
Yeah.
about that. One more for me, big guy. Left shoulder going right where the sternum is.
You broke the screen, man. That's all you
Tearing it up, man.
Literally.
That's what it's all about, man. What does that feel for us, partner?
Shoulder feels better.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Getting better. Still kind of going down, starting it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So set up real quick for me. We're gonna take the club out of here. Put your arms across your chest for me, my man. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of give you a feel, right? So for you, right, it's kind of like you start down like that, right? Okay. I want you to kind of feel more like this. I'm gonna kind of turn you here. All right.
Okay.
Okay, once again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Good. All right, now just kind of turn through for me. All right, good. All right. Do you notice how his head's not going down? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
we kind of worked on this early on with the alignment stick. It just kind of gets over the hump, and then he stops doing
gotcha.
practicing that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's kind of like because I think we've got.
It's almost like he should just spend an hour a day working on like 2 or 3 things. We're
Yeah, I mean,
in the living room, right? Like,
to be honest with you, over in Korea, what they do with the little girls when they hit like 13 or something like that, when they want to start the game, for a full year, they don't touch a club and don't hit a ball. They just do body motions. So I mean, not that we're there. All right, so set up for me, big guy. Okay, I'm going to put this right here for us. Okay, grab another little yardstick here. Okay, put that across our chest. Okay, good. All right, now turn. There you go. See how that matches up?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you were to do your old motion, go with your left shoulder really down. See how we're really not getting to that?
Yeah.
Okay. And that gets that left hip really down, and then we're going to get stuck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Right? So now we're keeping our spine up. We're not sinking down to come back up and go anywhere, right?
Mhm.
Great. Good. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, pal, we need to just kind of get into a room with a mirror and do this, as your dad said, for about an hour,
Yeah.
right? Translate that feel, you know. But now when I see, like, watch what his legs are doing. Right? You see how much more space he has there compared to last session where it was coming back?
Yep.
That's big. Okay, that's a big change for us there. Good. Just a little bit down with the shoulder, just a little bit. Okay, good. 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 All right. Body motions are looking so much better. Okay, from what we're doing right here. This is where we need to kind of be right here living in this world. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Good. Feel everything kind of turns up top?
Yeah.
Good.
Feel a lot of tension right there.
Yep. Yep. Inside part of our leg. Great. Good. Yeah. I mean, it's not exciting, it's not world-gathering news, but if you can do this for an hour a day or at least 30 minutes or something like that and devote yourself to at least 2 weeks to a month of this,
Yeah.
you're going to start seeing big changes. You're going to feel what those changes are.
I think it'll be more consistent when he gets to the driving range too.
Correct, correct. Instead of being at the driving range trying to search for something, right? I think if we do these drills, so we definitely want to do this one right here, right? I definitely want to get a ball, okay, for us right here, okay? Get up against the wall, like we talked about, right? Arms across our chest, maintain that ball. Get my right hip going back behind me, okay? You'll also notice when you do this drill, nobody's going to do this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So you're doing it automatically here, right? So if I can get you here, you're going to get that left shoulder to replace where my sternum is, right? I'm going to keep my rear end against that wall.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to do that drill quite a bit too. So I break it up into 30-minute sessions, okay? The other thing that you need to kind of work on is the pump drill, okay? We need to work on making sure that I'm getting that, and it doesn't have to be a big swing right now. We just got to get a feel, okay? But it might be right here, and then just driving that back through and feeling my chest and arms work as one unit.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense,
Yeah.
big guy? Okay. Towel drill, towel drill, towel drill. Right? Do you understand what we're doing now with the towel drill?
Yep.
Right? So let that thing hinge up, down and through. right? And we're gonna release that probably right about where our right thigh is, down and through, okay? And that's just gonna take time because right now you're so used to firing back here, right? That's your motion right now. It's boom, I'm gonna fire back over here, but we need to kind of hold that angle just a little bit, like if I was chopping wood, boom, boom, that little shot.
I saw a video, and I don't remember who it was, but they stopped the PGA Pro, it might have been Rory, and like that club is like 90 degrees here, and it's like, how the hell is he ever going to get that back square? But he could do it.
There's
Absolutely.
And it was like an extreme example,
Yeah.
right? Of how low, like there wasn't even enough room, but the way he.
Yeah. But that's the big thing is you got to kind of understand there is that we get our hands down low, and then what happens is our left leg starts firing up, getting our hip out of the way. We actually start to extend up slightly as we come through, allowing that room to pass as we come through.
And there's some the whip that he generates and the speed.
Yeah.
Just in that last 18 inches.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
And I literally was like, I was trying to like do it, but I was like, that's impossible.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing that you got to understand with Rory is that his wrist mobility, he's kind of double jointed in that.
Oh,
So
really?
he's able to get like I'm able to get
that in
this.
his elbow.
Yeah, right. When you look at some of these guys that are able to move it, like John Daly and stuff like this, if you understand, John Daly's double jointed in his shoulders. So why is he able to get all the way back over there?
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you start looking at it, you're like, well, these guys were just born with things that we just don't have. Right, and then you find yourself on YouTube trying to do the same thing, and your body can't do it, right?
I
So
think he's all got some kind of a freakish liver too.
probably
He's kind of like a double liver or something.
out there. So, but let's keep working on those things, okay? I'm going to send you a few videos of what we worked on.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's keep working on it. Any questions before we break, guys?
I think it's pretty clear. There's about 3 things he needs to work on between the next lesson.
Right, and then once the summertime comes around here and stuff like that, we can start getting in here during the week and kind of start planning those things, and maybe even start doing like 9 holes or something like that. Get on out on the course a little bit, somewhere. So, did you guys want to do it just one lesson at a time?
No. I wanted to do the
3-pack.
fact. We could probably just do the 5, right? That's the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's like a